All right, so local rivalries, schools fighting for bragging rights in state. That's one of the best parts of college football, right? Well, taking them into account, our CBS Sports team put together a map looking at each of the state's best Division I teams, according to them. They considered recent success, rivalry results, hope for the future. And man, I gotta tell you, this sparked some serious controversy. Many choices, of course, self-explanatory, easy if you will. With the Crimson Tide, they represent Alabama, Notre Dame slotted in Indiana, but some of these states, not so simple. And that is why we have Brady Quinn here with us right now to break down some of the states that might have some question marks around them. Now, you know, obviously,
where do you want to start? That's the question.
There's a lot of question marks, but there were some glaring ones that I think a lot of people looked at this map originally and said, wait a second.
Look at Texas.
Well, that's exactly where I want to start.
Right?
So obviously our CBS Sports crew thinking Baylor.
Yeah.
You disagree?
I disagree, but look, I think the reason why they say Baylor is they want to give Dave Aranda all the credit in the world, and he deserves that. I mean, with what he's put together during his time there, it's been something special. But you've also got a Steve Sarkisian who's been, continuing to build this, even though they fell off the face of the earth the second half of last season. They'll be better this year. And I think the team that isn't getting enough credit, maybe it's just because they play in the SEC West, and you look at Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher, and you go, well, they're gonna lose to Alabama. But wait a second, they beat them last year, and they've got that really talented recruiting class that was controversial as far as how they got to College Station.
Don't bring the drama up.
They're there, all right, they're there. But the bottom line is, I'll take Texas A&M as far as the best team in this state. Now, Baylor may end up having the best record because they play in the Big 12, and it's a little easier. But the bottom line is, I don't care if there's a quarterback competition between Max Johnson and Haynes King. They'll figure that out. You got Devon Achane. You got Anaya Smith in the backfield. You can hang your hat on that all you want. And you got a feisty Texas A&M defense with a lot of depth and a lot of talent. So Texas A&M, to me, is the best team in the state. But there's no doubt Baylor's up for it as far as winning the Big 12 and representing the state of Texas.
You talk about that recruiting class, the one that did spark all that drama, 8 5-star recruits, 8 of them. I mean, it's going to be incredible to see what this team does. Now, I don't know, did you start with Texas just because it's like the biggest?
It's just like the biggest.
Right there?
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, all right. So next I want to go to Oklahoma. Now, this is one of those that I got to be honest, I'm just wondering if they put Oklahoma State as a winner. And I understand aspects of it just to spark controversy like they are right now, or if they truly believe
hold
that.
on, did Barrett Salid write this?
Yes. All right, what do you think about Oklahoma?
Look, again, I think you look at what they've got returning, right? A returning quarterback in Spencer Sanders gives you a lot of credit. Mike Gundy has done a tremendous job as far as his consistency with winning within the Big 12, really putting together a competitive team year after year after year. The tough thing for me with this is I'm buying into Oklahoma. Like, I really feel like Lincoln Riley leaving wasn't the worst thing in the world for them. I think Brent Venables might be even a better fit. And I know people are concerned because they're like, hold on for a second. We've only hired people in-house for this head coaching job dating back to 1998. But again, this is somebody who's been there before. He's coached there before. And you're bringing in Dylan Gabriel, who's one of the more prolific passers in college football, and you're uniting him with this offensive coordinator that he was previously with at UCF, where they had a ton of success. So, look, they're talented. They've got experience on defense. You got one of the better defensive minds in Brent Venables, and you've got a quarterback who I think is going to deliver. So, to me, it's Oklahoma's conference to lose. Unlike last year, but like the 4 years running up to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with that. And you look at Venables, what he was able to do when he was at Oklahoma, and then of course making that move to Clemson and having so much success there. So you gotta think that they're going to be on the right track over there. All right, next up, you talked about a Florida school, and you were talking about Dylan Gabriel over there. Okay.
It's all controversy. Like this is to create controversy.
We're looking here. We have Central Florida. They're saying is the best team in Florida. What do you think?
No. I would take UF. I'm a big Anthony Richardson fan.
Yep.
I really do think Billy Napier and his staff will be able to get the most out of him. I mean, he is an incredible athlete. I mean, sky's the limit for that young man. But that's not even the team I'm picking.
What are you doing?
I'm picking the U, all right?
Oh, boy.
If you're looking for a team that's going to emerge out of this state in Florida, it's the U. I'm a believer and a buyer into Mario Cristobal. He's going to bring them back like we haven't seen. You're going to hear Tyler Van Dyke talked about more and more as a first-round pick. They've got speed, they've got talent and ability, and they're going to bring back a little more swag, but it's not going to be what we used to think about when we're thinking about the U. It's going to be physicality up front in the trenches, something that Mario Cristobal knows all about. So, again, look, they play an ACC. They got a lot tougher schedule when you look at the road games. They got to go to College Station to play A&M this year. They have to go to Clemson this year. But the reality is, if you're matching all these teams up in the state of Florida, I'm taking the U.
I understand why you're taking the U, of course, and then it helps that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just donated a ridiculous amount of money, also to the men and women's basketball team.
Right.
They're redoing the locker room. They have a brand new locker room for the football program, weight room, everything. I mean, it's impressive in what he's doing there. So maybe it's all coming around and it's all coming back.
It's coming together.
I'm going with Florida, but you know.
Okay.
But
we agree. It's not. We agree. It's not.
It
UCF.
is not UCF.
Okay.
It is not UCF. All right. We're going to go up to North Carolina now. So what do we have on North Carolina? CBS saying that it's Wake Forest, but it was just announced today.
Right.
There's questions, obviously, about their quarterback and Sam Hartman out indefinitely with a non-football-related medical condition. So that might have changed what our CBS Sports crew might think.
Yeah, and that's specifically why I'm saying at this moment right now, not knowing the health of Sam Hartman and thoughts and prayers go out to him, you hope he's going to be okay. And look, Dave Clawson's done a tremendous job with this program. I mean, Hartman's one of the top quarterbacks in college football coming into this season. So without him, it's a big question mark for me. And that's why I go to another top quarterback that's not getting talked about enough, Devin Leary. I mean, come on, this young man can sling it, and they've got a very experienced defense coming back with 10 returning starters. So look out for the Wolfpack. Look out for NC State. I think as it stands right now, not knowing the health of Sam Hartman, NC State to me is the best team in North Carolina.
Yeah, this might be the first time in college football history someone saying NC State is.
No, that's not true. Will Brinson. He's pretty much every single year.
Every year?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Will. Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Last but not least. All right, we're going to go to the other side of the country over here, and Washington. So Washington, they said, our CBS Sports crew that put this list together was one of the more difficult states to pick. They went with Washington State.
And I get it. Look, you've got an experienced team coming back, plenty of upperclassmen coming back, returning. That's one part of it, but I don't know. I mean, someone tells me that people are sleeping on the University of Washington. I'm a big fan of Kalen DeBoer and what he brings to the table. He's had a long track record of success coming to UW. This team isn't that far removed from basically competing for Pac-12 championships starting a couple of years ago, if you look even before, obviously, the COVID year. So I'm a buyer into that. You're going to have a quarterback controversy, or I should say competition, as far as who's going to take over there, but it's going to be a well-run program. They've always had talent there. This, to me, and I've called many Apple Cups in my day and age, UW always dominated Washington State. So, I've got to see it to believe it if Washington State's going to end up emerging as the better team over UW, who I think still owns the title there. And then we'll see how things progress this season. But like I said, I'm a big fan of Kalen DeBoer.
You know what gets me excited about this conversation? The fact that we even have this map behind us. It means college football is just right around the corner. So we're almost there. And then at the end of the year, maybe we can look back on this and see how we're right or wrong we were.
Well, right we were, wrong Barrett Lee was.
Yeah, Barrett Lee. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Brady Quinn, for joining us here on HQ. That was fun to kind of go through the map and take our picks on who we like in each state. And it's almost here. As I mentioned, college football right around the corner. You got to tune into the Cover 3 podcast. It's the perfect call for any diehard fans. Insider Insight, the hottest topics, their latest pod. They're talking about the SEC, and is it possible that they missed the college football playoff? I don't like it. But that's what the discussion is. Tune in and follow along.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.